We finally got the Ari Lennox album, and y'all paid it dust. I'm sick. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse podcast. It's Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. News broke that Ari Lennox's sophomore album, Age, Sex, and Location, debuted at 69 on the Billboard chart. And I have so much to talk about. First of all, that is an indication of two things. A, that the rollout was problematic, and B, that we're at a state right now where we are only interested in jumping in or tying ourselves into drama, into the lives, and then piecing out. Never really supporting the artist, never supporting the music, and never really supporting R&B where it is now. Now, first item, like I said, the rollout was problematic because around this time of last year is when Pressure, the single, came out. And we were digging it, right? September the 10th, the single came out. She did the music video. It was cute. She did a live performance, I believe, the month prior at the Soul Train Awards. I was like, oh, okay, this is really cute. And you thought, well, this is it. The album's about to come out. But we really didn't get anything after that until she did Unloyal with Summer Walker. Summer Walker, still over it, banging album. I thought, okay, this is it. This is the time, right? There wasn't a music video for that. They did a live performance at the Soul Train Awards, I believe, this year. And I was like, okay, maybe this is the time. So we were almost out of summer when Hoodie came out. And she did a music video for that. I love Hoodie. I'm assuming that was the buzz single or whatever, but by the time that came out, the album came out, it's almost like they spit it out of the meat curtains. It was like, here, you might as well just take it or whatever. And I thought, okay, the gap, first of all, the gap, and then the gap between the two songs, Pressure and Hoodie. Then there was, in that gap, J. Cole's rollout happened, the album came and went. There were, if not a couple of singles from the Dreamville situation, but also there was that tweet. Ari was standing in front of the dry erase board, and there was roughly 50 to 75 songs, which the post alludes to that she recorded all these songs. And I'm thinking, okay, I really hope we don't get a Chris Brown type of situation where we're just throwing everything out on streaming and y'all will eat that up. The thing about it is that, yet again, Ari Lennox is underappreciated. She gave us, again, another album, a solid album, that is not being pushed out in the forefront. We know she's there. I mean, she's done features, duets, or whatever with Jasmine Sullivan, Summer Walker, and that's the two major artists. And I believe she's even done some stuff for the label. But even with just those two, Jasmine Sullivan is finally getting a lot of recognition, even though the girl has been doing her thing well over a decade in our faces. Um, like even that song, as annoying as it was with on it, as annoying as that song was, like it hit and it hit hard. Like what more do we need, right? And there was this whole discussion over the latter part of the summer that R&B is dead. Well, it's not dead. A lot of people are just not supporting it. This pandemic has made it easier as far as accessibility to jump into some minute quick drama, whether it be a video clip or somebody's live or something that the blogs put out, dipping out, not really engaging at all, if anything, or bringing some drama to somebody's live. And Ari, between the singles, was starting to become more well known for her lives than her music. And another point that I made when the news broke on Twitter about the placement of the album on the Billboard chart was that this is just a reflection of what it means to be on the label that's run by another artist. Ari is on Dreamville, which is J. Cole's label, which is attached to a bigger label that, not for nothing, like J. Cole's decent, but I can give or take him personally. I listen to all of his music. He is, the replay value isn't that high. And that's been, from my perspective, consistent through all his releases. And I think it kind of hurts to be on another artist label because, if they run it, they most likely will be the top priority. You gotta look, right? Think about it. It's a situation where it's like artists end up Vita or Charlie Baltimore adjacent, where it's like, you have a producer ran label like a Murder Inc., or you have an artist run label like Dreamville, where you have all these artists, and Young Money is a good example too, where you have all these artists, you have enough artists to make compilation upon compilation upon compilation. Even though it's clear that we're really only listening for the two artists that you put out in front the entire time. Like, outside of J. Cole and outside of Ari on Dreamville, honestly can't tell you like the name of another artist on Dreamville. So it's unfortunate that you have those those things stacked against Ari Lennox, where it's like she makes solid music, and the album is bonkers. The last album, Shea Butter Baby, I think the rollout for that album was kind of similar, but because she was a new artist, it was just a matter of, I guess, finding the right song, because I believe BMO wasn't the first release from that album. As a matter of fact, Whipped Cream was from her EP. Doesn't matter, neither here nor there. But she, like, I don't get it. Like, we got the album. we've been talking about it a lot over here at the I Refuse podcast on the pages and on the channel and stuff. As to, she gave us like the last album, 12 songs, right? There are at least a good 6 or 7 songs that I rock with. And her album is not overwrought with like features. She picked some very, very good features. You know, Summer Walker's on this album, Chloe's on this album, and Lucky Day is on this album. And the Lucky Day duet is one of my favorites. And just the structure of the album. Plenty of Fish is a great opener. And it's great because the album is good outside of Pressure. And I mean, Hoodie is a banger. So we were having this discussion on the I Refuse podcast Twitter page. Y'all need to go follow that. I was having this discussion with Lou Cypher, who also has a podcast called Hell is Around the Corner. Another great podcast, by the way. As to, you know, the rollout was problematic, very, very slow. Hoodie wasn't the best, like, lead-in single. You know, we ate up Pressure, moved on, like a whole calendar year went past. And Hoodie was good, but I wouldn't have chosen it as a lead single. Personally, I would have thought, you know, the Lucky Day song would have been a great buzz single, I think. And I think by them doing the EP the week before, I think it was probably too much too soon. Like the EP, there were 1 or 2 songs from that EP. I think it was called Queen Space. Or, no, that's the name of the song she does with Summer. Where she could have, one of those songs could have been a lead-in. Like Bitter probably could have been a lead-in, but it was just, she could have picked something else. Hoodie probably could have came out after another song from Age, Sex, Location. Like, it could have went different directions, but I think, again, that comes back to the label and management. You know, Ari Lennox has been working her ass off. Like, let's not be under the impression that if she's not on live, she's not doing something. She gave us another solid set, and we are really not supporting it. You know, we got the energy and the time to get up on the lives. We got the energy and the time to be on Instagram, like stirring the pot, starting some mess, but we're not really supporting, you know, good R&B music. You know, the girls, there are plenty of females out here outside of Jasmine Sullivan that are essentially carrying R&B on their back. You know, hopefully it doesn't get to a place where we put like the personality before the music. You know, we backed up off of Summer Walker a little bit when it came to her anxiety. Some of us were skeptical. I believed it. It wasn't until the London on the Track situation and her having a greater presence on like TikTok and Instagram that people were like, oh, she's more relatable. And she's pretty funny. But it's like, what more does it take? I mean, Ari Lennox has a very unique voice, very distinctive. Like from the first note, she sings, you hear her, you know it's her. And on this album, Age, Sex, Location, the growth of the vocals and the singing has improved. Like her style, she switched it up to where she is holding the notes longer, and she's even stretching out the range a little bit. Gotta love it. I know I do. But like, what more do y'all want? Like, it looks like R&B is going in the direction, thank God, where we're not using as many rap features. If I recall, Lucky Day's most recent album doesn't have a rap feature, I don't believe. And Brent Faiyaz is another dude. I love it. You know, Beyonce's Renaissance album, she was like, look, I'ma just do the raps myself. And I love to see it. So, what more do y'all need? Like, Ari Lennox is giving it and is giving it very well with this album. I just wish now that the album's out, that there's even more of a push. And it's probably a little difficult with the Panasonic that we got going on out here. But even a small performance, do a little, versus type of thing where we pay money to watch, a little Triller or Revolt kind of special. Something along the lines of Tiny Desk. I know she's done one already. But something, you don't have to do like a big Netflix rollout movie kind of situation. But definitely give us something visually that supports the album. We're slowly getting out here with the tours, and we're slowly coming into the venues a little bit. Some of us got our double and our triple shots and all that stuff. But, a little 15, 20-minute concept piece wouldn't hurt. A lot of us are not listening to radio as much. I know I'm not. And we sticking to the streaming and doing our own playlist, so why not make that part of the promotional rollout? You're here with the second album. It's been a couple of months since the start of summer. We're going into fall. We're staying in the house a little bit more because it's about to get colder. I mean, if anything, I just hope the girls these days are taking a page from, other artists that are setting the standard. That you too, even if you have to come out your own pocket, really have the power and the fortitude to create a moment separate from the album, but also is supportive of the album, supports the album. Like, look at Solange. When she did When I Get Home, she did a little short film almost. Wasn't any dialogue. It was just her performing, just her performing to the music, giving visuals, giving styles, different moods, different environments. And honestly, like, if that had not come out, maybe the album probably wouldn't have had such a high shelf life. Solange goes on her own. Solange is a great example of doing it your way, working outside the system, so to speak, and putting your genius to the visual as well as the music. Like, I think she intentionally did the album the way that she did, where it wasn't a focus on, lyrics per se, but more on moods and vibes. And did a short little film to support it, and it was like, well, damn, this really is great. Do a short little 15, 20-minute little joint and put it out, and put like more of your social media juice into that. Like hop on the live with the songs playing in the background or something, or play a visual on mute for the in support of the album. Free advice. You like Ari Lennox can do that. But for a new album to debut at 69, like, what are y'all doing? Like, the Billboard charts still, there are albums on there from Michael Jackson that still plays. And he been there since 2009. What is happening? Like, I hope we're not going in the direction as a culture or as a community or a civilization where drama sells records, or that's part of the promotional marketing of an album. Like, getting a number one is a slippery slope as it is. Like, people exalt that as some kind of pat on the back, to the point where it's like, oh, well, this person got one, then, they finally got one, they're iconic, this is great. Not every number one is a great song or a great album. There's a lot behind having quality over quantity. And Ari is quality. Quality. She doesn't spit out an album every 6 months. The rollouts are a little bit problematic and could be a little tighter. But I think that's more so on the label. That's not a reflection of her as an artist. Like, the girl is definitely dope. And I just really want a lot of us out here to really step away from attention seeking and put the albums on undistracted, undivided, and get into it, because not only is the voice on point, like, the girl has been working, has been doing the vocals, the lyrics are great. Like, there's a lot of metaphors. Like, I was probably late to the game. Hoodie is about turtleneck peeing with the turtleneck. I knew that long before I did this video, but it took me being on Twitter, minding my African American business like I always do, to put 2 and 2 together. So when she sings, I just want to lay in that hoodie, I relate. I get it. Like, I get it. So for her to give all this growth as an artist on an album that is not over 25 songs long and is not heavy-handed, like, she gave us a short, sweet 12-song album. And I want more people to do that. Like, go the route of Michael Jackson when it comes to track listings and a set of songs. 9 or 10 is good. 11 or 12 is pushing it. No more 18 track songs unless you're Erykah Badu or Jill Scott. No more of this, oh, we're gonna put out a double album. That shit don't come up like a double album on streaming, and nobody's gonna sit. I tried. Look, I tried my best to get through John Legend's latest album. I struggled by the time I got to the Mooney Long feature. And by the way, her glow up, very interesting. Very interesting, Mooney Long. I'm gonna save face a little bit and say it's not because you're not attractive, it's because you're broke. Because I feel like once you get money and a team, you get better makeup, you get a better stylist, and things come together. But I remember when I saw her on the BET Awards, right? I saw her on the BET Awards. I was like, oh, this must be a new artist. But the name isn't new. And then I saw, like, before she made it big, I guess she was doing, like, pop-up performances, and she looked really different. Like, to the point to where I was like, who is this? Oh, that's Mooney Long. Well, all right. So, moving on, before I do, stream support Age, Sex, Location by Ari Lennox, sophomore album. I tried with John Legend. Like, I have all of his albums for the most part. The last one I physically bought was Love in the Future. That's like a bang, especially the latter half of the album. But I struggled with Legend. Like, he makes great music. He does. He sounds good. I give him that. Like, I'm never going to knock a man that plays, I'm never going to knock any artist that plays instruments and plays them really well. Adnan Sayed got freed, finally, after serving 20 years. I hope he sues the state for $21 million, $1 million for each year. After he was freed the same day that his sentence got vacated for they say that they convicted him first for the strangulation death of his ex-girlfriend. But it took them roughly 19 years, which along the way, there was a podcast called Serial that covered his story back in 2014, for them to revisit the thing. Like, the malfeasance and the dereliction of the duty of his first lawyer, a woman, was the tipping point. She did not interview the alibi witnesses. And a lot of people attributed her poor performance to her health issues. Around the time that he was convicted, this woman lawyer was battling MS, which was exacerbated by her diabetes. She ended up in a wheelchair, losing her eyesight, and dying of a heart attack. By 2004, I believe. So at some point, he finally got a really good lawyer. His name just escaped me. Finally got a good lawyer to take on the case. And that was a matter of I want to say 7 years, almost 10 years, from what 2009 to about 2019, even to now. But it's crazy to me because here you had this man sitting in jail roughly 15 years, right? Before things started to gain traction. And even the last 5 or 6 years, it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of back and forth between, the defense, the courts, and the state. And next thing you know, all it took, like the vacation, the signing of the document, allowing the vacation, all happened in the same day. All that happened in one day. Like from the time this judge got the information and got the paperwork put together and signed it, and he was released all in one day. But they found out as early as possibly 10 years ago, allegedly, that his first lawyer, the woman, did interview the alibi witnesses. And the rigmarole was can we grant him a new trial? Does he deserve it? Blah, 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 blah. On the grounds of malfeasance or failure to give good assistance as a lawyer. I don't know how you cannot, as a lawyer, a defense lawyer, just fail to interview alibi witnesses. And I believe she sent the questions by fax or tried to, or something there. But the reason why I'm bringing all that up is because that man sat in jail for over 20 years. And people within the system were well aware for a little over 10 of those years the failure of his first lawyer. And it took, in addition to finding that out, it took them finally getting to testing the DNA and realizing, oh shit, none of this matches him. This man better get Maxine Waters, the Johnny Cochran firm, somebody, to get the city together. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, but definitely a warning sign to like get your shit together. Because that is crazy to me. Child, when I tell you Maryland is ghetto and hell is a sardine can at this point. What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all marinating chicken? By the way, what's up with y'all marinating chicken in NyQuil and actually making that a thing? Child, I'm just like everybody else, blaming Darius Cooks. Marinating NyQuil in chicken and like cooking the chicken and stuff. Yeah, y'all probably shouldn't do that. Y'all out here intentionally like trying to like overdose or some shit. When I first saw that, I saw it on TikTok a while back and thought I was dreaming. But it's gotten to a point, apparently this TikTok trend has gotten to a point to where it's like TMZ is out here telling y'all, that's not good. That's not healthy. You probably shouldn't do that. Y'all gotta think, like, when people go to the museum, right, and look at the evolution of man, we've evolved from primates and apes to humans to Balloon Boy, Tide Pods, eating those, putting gasoline in sandwich bags, Ziploc bags, buying 10 to 15 gallons of milk, to scamming on social media. Not only the pink sauce lady shipping out non-FDA approved stuff and y'all buying it, to now marinating chicken in NyQuil. When that makes it to the museum, to those kind of exhibits, people are going to laugh their asses out the museum into the parking lot because you have got to be joking. That's all I got. I ain't got no more. This is Mr. Fox's I Refuse podcast. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you see us. We also debuted our After Dark podcast. The link is in the Twitter profile at I Refuse Podcast, all one word. We're also on Instagram. Follow the link. At this point, y'all should really be on top of it. Season 3 of the I Refuse Podcast is on streaming platforms everywhere. Be sure to check that out. Working on some new things. Working on some new visuals. Possibly some merch later on down the line. Trying to keep it fresh and different with each season rollout. You know, I'm no Hitsville, USA. I'm no Barry Gordy, but I do what I do over here at this lemonade stand. And y'all will deal. And we will catch you guys later. Peace.